Hi guys, welcome to the first episode of G-Star's Vault in association with the Monty Zone. Just to let you know what it's all about, basically for a while now myself and Monty have been doing the Monty Zone on YouTube. It's a live stream where we sit down as two friends of 40 years plus, just chilling out and discussing some of the more mysterious questions in the world. So content can be about mysterious archaeology finds, future AI, the UFO phenomenon, cryptozoology, anything that's really sort of thought-provoking like that. But we do it every fortnight and it's a live stream. We've got the Facebook site going as well, and what I want to do with the Facebook page is upload a lot more content between the fortnight episodes, so that if you guys are thirsty for something new or interested in the conversations that we've had on the Monty Zone, we can do extensions of those discussions. So for example, in episode 8 we did an episode about Bigfoot. There was some footage that we used on there, and after the show went out live and we streamed it, one of the guys that was guesting on the show suggested that we check out a video by a YouTuber called Thunker, and that really solidified some of the analysis that we were doing of the video. So it was interesting to share that after the live stream, and we did that on the Facebook page. So the G-Star Vaults are just short reaction videos that I'm going to upload primarily to the Facebook page, and they will go on to the YouTube channel as well, just so that you've got some content to get yourselves into, and you can start helping me do this analysis by leaving your comments and your thoughts on what you think. And so the first one that I'm going to choose today is some footage that comes from New Zealand. And the reason why I've chosen it is in episode 6 we did an episode about UFOs. We were joined by guest Daniel Godwin as well on that show, and on that show we were discussing some footage, some drone footage from Utah, and we all put our 2 pence into what we thought it was, and I think the general conclusion was that we thought it was possibly another drone that was flying towards the drone that was filming, hence why it seemed to go so fast. But that was our general conclusions, although that's just our thoughts. That's not to say that it wasn't something genuine. We weren't implying that anybody was hoaxing. It's just sometimes UFO does mean unidentified, and so therefore we don't know the exact reasons around it. So the footage that I've chosen for the first episode of G-Star's Vault, is some footage that comes from New Zealand. It was shot in a helicopter right up in the high parts of the mountains in New Zealand that is covered in snow. And the reason why I chose it, because it's very similar to the Utah drone footage. You'll get to see it, but there's something that appears on the screen and you need to be watching really, really carefully because it's really, really fast. So without further ado, let's check it out. Okay, so that was really fast, and if you were like me when I watched it the first time, you're like, what was that? And so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to share the footage, a segment of the footage slowed down so we can try and see it as best as we can. I'm limited with the equipment that I've got. I've slowed it down to 1/8 for the speed, so hopefully we can see a little bit more detail. So check the slow motion version out now. Right, so even slowed down, it is hard to still see and make out any detail from the object. So I've obviously watched this footage a few times. There's a couple of things that I've considered. So first and foremost, it's shot from inside a helicopter, and I'm not a helicopter pilot or an expert. I have flown in a helicopter before, but from what I can see from the video, I would estimate that the helicopter is flying at least at a minimum of 100 miles an hour. It doesn't look that fast because of the distance that it's away from the mountains, but I would imagine that minimum it's going at 100 miles an hour. So if you're talking about a sort of relative timing, then the object that's passing the helicopter, if that is going at 200 miles an hour, then it's going to seem that it passes the helicopter at 300 miles an hour. That's how the sort of physics of relative speed works out. And that's me estimating that the helicopter is going a minimum of 100 miles an hour. So what could be going that speed? Well, again, military drones, the fastest one can go as fast as Mark II, so that's 1500 miles an hour. So if it was a military drone and it's going at top speed at 1500 miles an hour and the helicopter is going at 100 miles an hour, it's going to appear that it's traveling near on to sort of 2000 miles per hour, which is going to be fast and fast to the human eye. But having said that, when I was going back and especially watching it in slow motion, I was seeing that it seemed like it was in two places at once. Now, whether that's because it's going so fast, but I couldn't make out any detail to say conclusively whether it is a drone or not. However, when I slowed it down, and I don't know if you guys noticed this as well, one of the things that I noticed is that it sort of it seems like there's a bar outside of the window, or there's a piece of equipment outside of the window of the helicopter, and it sort of seems to appear there first and stay still, and then it moves really, really fast and crosses the screen. So the first thought that comes to mind is maybe whether it's a piece of ice or snow that was on the outside of the helicopter and just at that moment happened to come loose in the wind and flies past the camera, which is obviously inside the helicopter. I mean, one thing that is really great about this footage is you can't sort of say that it's an insect or something like that, because the camera, the person with the camera is inside of the helicopter, behind a screen, behind the screen of the cockpit of the helicopter. So there's no way that it could be an insect in front of the camera, because we can clearly see that whatever it is outside of the helicopter. However, my first thought, or my last thought I should say, is that it's likely a piece of snow or ice that was on the outside of the vehicle that eventually then became loose, because I think at first you can see it stuck to the vehicle and then it comes loose. But go back, watch it yourself, leave some comments about what your thoughts are on this footage, what you think it is, and I'll check you out next time on G Stars Vault. Cheers guys, bye.